The next lecture is about elements and attributes, and the one after that is about cascading style sheets. Let's start with the first one, elements and attributes. If you remember from the previous chapter, we discussed that HTML, head, title, body, and so on are called tags, but they are also called elements. So in this chapter, we're going to talk about elements. We're also going to start building our first website. So what I'm going to do right now is copy this text right here where it says doctype and paste it into a text editor to start building my first website. So let me hit escape to be able to copy all of this. Over time, you will be able to memorize this and you don't even need to copy. But I'm just showing you that this is how we start. We start with copying and pasting, and then eventually you'll be so good at this, you'll type it yourself. So I'm going to copy this and open Text Wrangler. What is Text Wrangler? Let me show you here. Text Wrangler is a text editor free software application that you can download. It works on Macs and it's free, available online. You download it, install it, and work with it. There's also another text editor called TextMate, but this one you have to buy. But it's available in the ComArts labs, so you can do that too. I would recommend using Text Wrangler, but TextMate is fantastic too. So I have Text Wrangler open, and I want to paste what I copied right here, and then zoom in so we see properly. Okay, and basically again the HTML page starts with doctype HTML, which is basically telling the browser that the version of HTML is HTML5. The HTML element opens and closes. The HTML element has two main elements, the head and the body. The head opens and closes, and the body opens and closes. When we say closes, it means you will see this / right before the element. Okay, so the head element in turn contains the title element, which will show what's in the title bar. It contains the meta element, which is saying what type of document this is, HTML as opposed to JavaScript or CSS, and so forth. It's also using the UTF-8 for the different millions and millions of characters and symbols. And this link line, there seems to be an error here, by the way. We'll see that, I think. There. We haven't discussed this yet, but we will shortly. For now, let's just ignore it and then move on. So I'm going to save this file, save. I will create a folder on my desktop called first website, and then save this in this folder as index.html. Okay, now let's open this in the browser. So what you do is, you see here it says index.html. Take this file and drag it to your browser. And this is officially your first website. Okay, it's empty, there's nothing there because we haven't placed anything in the body element yet, but this is officially your first website. How about we change this untitled document? Let's go ahead and make that change where it says title. So within the title element or the title tag, let's change untitled document to my first website. Save this and then go back to your window and refresh the page. You can refresh the page by hitting Command R, or you can just click here. And so it says my first website. So the title bar now says my first website, and this is officially my first website. What you see in the URL is the path to the file. So since we're working locally right now and the work is not uploaded to a server, you will see the path. I have a folder called first website on my desktop and so forth, and the file is inside that. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is fill up the body element with more elements. So if I hit enter and then indent, Why am I indenting? I will go over all of these details in the coming 2 chapters, but this is a summary, as I said earlier. So when I indent, it means that what's going to be typed right now is going to be the child of the element before it. That's why title, meta, and link are indented. They're not at the same level as head. So I've indented because title, meta, and link elements are the children of the head element. And how do I know that? I know that because the head element closes after it contains these 3 children. So within the body element, as you can see, the body element opens and it closes. Inside of that, so the child of the body element, I'm going to insert a new element, P. Okay, what is P? There are millions and millions of elements. P is one, A is another, div is another. We're just starting, so we're starting to get familiar with all of these terms. P is basically, it stands for paragraph. Okay, so I open the P element and I close it. And right here I can write something such as web design is a piece of cake. Okay, I'm going to save this and then refresh my page. And what do you expect to see? We hope to see this phrase, right? So Command R, this is the phrase that we just typed in. So this is a website. Okay, there's not much to it yet, but it feels good to start somewhere. Okay, web design is a piece of cake. How about I take this whole line, including obviously the opening and closing tags of the P, copy it, hit enter and paste it one more time. What do we expect to see now? The phrase again, right? Okay, but where do we see the phrase again? Do we see it next to the first phrase or do we see it under it? Let's see, let's refresh. Okay, it goes under it. Okay, maybe this means something. Let's copy it and paste it one more time. Okay, so what I notice is that the phrase, the second phrase, and the third phrase did not come next to the first phrase. Instead, they came under each other. So I would write a conclusion now. If you have a pencil and a paper, I would write down this conclusion, even though everything I'm saying here in this summarized video is going to be repeated in detail in the coming 2 chapters. But I just want you to get a feel of what we'll be doing. So the conclusion here is that P is a block element. There are 2 types of elements. There are inline elements and block elements. P happens to be a block element, and block elements flow vertically, which means when you have another P or another block element, what it contains is not going to come next to the one before it, it's going to come under it. Okay? So block elements create a line break, that's the official way of saying it. And so the next item is pushed underneath the one before it. Okay, so that's the first conclusion. How about we open another element? So remember, head is an element, title is an element, meta, head, body, P, all of these are elements. Let's start another element like span. Open and close the element. What does span do? Span basically highlights the beginning and ending of something. For example, if you have a paragraph and you want one word to be orange while everything else to be black, you would place that word within the span element and then change the color to orange. But for this first website, I just want to use one word because I'm not working with a paragraph yet. So let's say hello. Okay, save that and refresh, and I see the word hello. How about I copy span and paste it one more time and save. So to save, obviously you don't see me going to file, save. Okay, I don't do that because it's a waste of time. I just do Command S on the keyboard. Okay, so I saved and now I want to refresh, so I hit Command R and hello goes next to the first hello. So this is different from P, right? when we wrote web design is a piece of cake 3 times in the P element, every time the next phrase goes under the one before it. Whereas with the span, the second word hello goes next to the first word. Why is that? Okay, here's the next conclusion. It's because the span is an inline element as opposed to P, which is a block element. And inline elements flow horizontally. So no matter how many hellos you're going to have here, oops, I didn't save. They're going to flow next to one another, obviously until you reach the right side of the page, and that's only when the next word hello will come on a new line. So block elements, inline elements, and I think this is obviously it's a quick way, and we will talk about all of this in detail, but I feel it starts making sense when you start reading the lecture next. All of this will start sinking in and making more sense. Okay, how about if we color these? How can we change the color of these phrases, and how do we do that?